Hello, I'm Sensei Alex Kakuyo, and the title of today's talk is The Noble Eightfold Path of Buddhism, Part 2. This is the second in a three-part series on the Noble Eightfold Path and how it can help us in daily life. But before we get into that, I'd like to remind you to subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified when I post talks in the future. Also, if you'd want to do a deep dive into the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, I'd encourage you to check out my book, Perfectly Ordinary Buddhist Teachings for Everyday Life. It's available on Amazon, and I've posted a link to a sample chapter of the book in the description for this talk. Now, next we'll be talking about the morality teachings of Buddhism, which are right speech, right action, and right livelihood. But I've noticed that people lean back and get a bit defensive when I use that word, morality. So I want to explain that and how that word is used in Buddhism, just to sort of ease the waters a little bit. Now, in the West, when we think of morality, we often think of rules. And if we don't follow these rules, then we're bad people and we'll be bashed over the head or punished in some other way. And that's not how morality is used in Buddhism. When we talk about morality, what we're talking about are actions that we can take that help our enlightenment shine forth into everyday life. So these aren't rules so much as they're strong suggestions based on the wisdom and experience of the teachers that have come before us, going all the way back to Buddha himself. And if you're watching this talk, I'm going to assume that you're a grown-up over the age of 18. So you can make your own decisions about what you want to do, but I can tell you from experience that these teachings do hold up, and they do help your life become calmer and more peaceful as a result. So I encourage you to just try them and see what happens before you make a decision. And with that being said, we'll start off with right speech and right action. And we're starting with these and combining them because they really go together. Remember that in Buddhism, we don't use the mind to work on the body per se. Rather, we use the body, we use our actions, we use our speech to cultivate certain states of the mind. And then once our mind is in the right place, that affects our speech and our actions, and it becomes a very healthy, very life-affirming circle. So how do we do this? How do we decide what's right speech and what's right action? Very simply, we ask ourselves 4 questions. Does the speech or action I'm about to engage in create joy for myself or other people? Does the speech or action I'm about to engage in remove suffering from the lives of myself or other people? Through my speech or my actions, am I expressing joy or goodwill towards people and their success? Through my speech or my actions, am I instilling a sense of calm in myself or other people? Now, if you've been practicing Buddhism for a while, you may notice that those 4 questions directly relate to the 4 Brahma Viharas, or the 4 awakened mind states that we're encouraged to cultivate as Buddhist practitioners. These are mind states that we already have as enlightened beings, but just like you have to water a rose in order for it to grow, we have to water and cultivate these mind states within ourselves so they can grow. And then as we cultivate them, our enlightenment manifests in ourselves, and as it manifests in ourselves, it manifests in the world. And the 4 awakened mind states, or the 4 Brahma Viharas, as they're traditionally called, are sympathetic joy, equanimity, compassionate action, and loving kindness. And I'll speak about them all more in depth in a future video, but just keep those in mind. Keep those questions in mind when you're deciding whether or not to engage in a certain course of speech or action. And if you can't remember them, that's fine. Just ask yourself this. The speech or action that I'm about to engage in, does it remove suffering or create joy for myself or the people around me? And based on that, you'll know what you should or shouldn't do. Now next, we have right livelihood. And this is important because oftentimes as lay people, we think it's wrong to have a job or to earn money. But that's not the case. We're not monastics. And Buddha, in his wisdom, made room for lay people to have very diligent, very strong spiritual practices, which allow us to realize our own enlightenment and attain nirvana in this lifetime. So how do we do that as it goes with right livelihood? Well, first we need to speak about wrong livelihood. And these are five professions, five livelihoods that the Buddha said were just so filled with negative karma, both for ourselves and others, that they just weren't worth it, that we should just avoid them entirely and find other ways to earn money. And the five forbidden professions are as follows. It's weapons dealing, slavery, the sale of intoxicants, the sale of poisons, and animal butchery. Now, again, if people are engaged in these professions, they're not evil, they're not bad people, they don't deserve to be punished. It's just that they're creating so much negative karma for themselves or for other people that it becomes hard to practice. It becomes hard to realize enlightenment or experience nirvana in this lifetime. And that's why we're encouraged to avoid them. That being said, if our livelihood is not one of the five forbidden professions, then it's game on. And we should do our job, and we should do it wholeheartedly, and we should be proud of it, proud of our work, and proud of the money we're earning. And then we should use our jobs and our money in skillful ways. So for example, if we have a job and let's say we have to be there at 10 o'clock and we show up at 9:50 to clock in and we go to our workstation, that makes life better for us because we got there on time, our boss isn't mad at us. But it's also making life better for the person we're replacing. Now they get to leave on time. Now they get to spend time with their family. And it becomes very healthy, very life-affirming, both for us and for them. And then we earn money, and just like we earn money righteously, we can also spend money righteously in a way that makes life better for ourselves and others. So how do we do that? Well, maybe we buy a gift for a loved one. Maybe we pay all of our bills, so we don't have debt collectors calling us, which obviously removes stress from our lives. Perhaps we donate money to a charity that we're involved in, that we feel strongly about. So if we engage in right livelihood, if we avoid the five forbidden professions, if we're not involved with weapons dealing, with slavery, with animal butchery, with the sale of intoxicants, or the sale of poisons, then we're able to earn money and spend money in a way that makes life better, for both ourselves and everyone around us. So to review, when we talk about the morality practices of Buddhism, when we talk about right speech, right action, and right livelihood, these aren't cudgels that beat us over the head. We're not evil people if we're not in accordance with them. The goal, rather, is to treat our mind like a mirror. A mirror reflects all the light that's put in front of it, but mirrors accumulate dirt over time. And when we engage in right speech, right action, and right livelihood, we are cleaning the mirror of our mind, so our enlightenment is able to manifest in daily life. That's the talk for today. I hope it was helpful. If you'd like to read articles I've written about Buddhist practice, you can do that in my blog, The Same Old Zen. The link for that is in the description for this talk. And if you have questions that you'd like to ask about this talk, I'd love to continue the conversation. Just leave those in the comment section below. I promise I'll respond. So until next time, Amitabha.